Can you see my screen?
Yeah, Himanshu, we can see.
Okay. So, hi everyone, my name is Himanshu Sethi, and today me and Jatin are going to present the session on HL7. So, this is our today's agenda. We are going to cover about HL7, like what is HL7, why do we need HL7 standards, what are the type of messages that are included in HL7 standards, and one of the message we are going to look today and its structure. And later on, we're going to jump to the practical implementation, how we can sync this with our MuleSoft. So first thing comes up, what is HL7? So HL7 is basically an international organization, which is a non-profit organization certified by ANSI. And what its basic task is, it provides us the standards for transferring and exchange of clinical as well as healthcare and administrative data from one place to another. It provides us standards to transfer the data. It was founded in 1987. And talking about its scope, so basically it is used over like it is being implemented by over 550 countries, and it is being supported by more than 1600 members. So next thing is why HL7? Like basically why its name is HL7. HL7 is the full form. HL7 is health level 7. So usually when we come up with this terminology, people thinks like it could be the seventh version of this standards or like that. No, but the thing over here is this seven keyword is named after the seventh layer of OSI model. So basically, what happens is they have named it as this is being certified by ISO as the seventh layer or is the seventh level of International Organization of Standardization, and this standard is being like used as in what are the standards we used in the seventh layer of OSI model. So here's the catch. Can anyone tell me what is the seventh layer of OSI model? I think so. Everyone has studied the networking in their conversation.
It's application layer.
It's application, right? So this is being referred as an application layer only. Okay, there's another terminology came in the HL7 standardization, that is FHIR, that is fast healthcare interoperability resources. So what happens is HL7 is an international organization which provides a standard. So FHIR basically is a one of the standard which we usually use in terms of RESTful web services. What it provides us to help out the transactions with in terms of XML, JSON, RDF, and it while HL7 only supports the XML. So to broaden the scope of HL7, we came up with FHIR. Next thing is, why do we need HL7? Like what is the reason behind this to take out the standard or to introduce the standard? So it's a short video we're going to see, and later on I'll explain it why we have come up with this one. You guys can hear the audio?
No, the audio is not coming.
It's not coming.
I think it was coming, but it was very low.
Okay, just try to just see the video and later on explain it what is the concept behind this one.
Let's imagine that you've injured yourself and need to visit the hospital. Upon your arrival, you're requested to fill out a form to provide your personal information. Details such as your name, date of birth, next of kin, allergies, and other personal information are all filled out on the form. You hand this form back to the staff, who then enter these details into the Hospital Information System, or HIS. After waiting a pleasantly short period of time, you meet with your doctor. You discuss your injuries and are examined by her. After assessing your condition, she decides to order a series of X-rays, blood tests, and schedules in future appointments. These are also entered into the HIS. This information is now needed by other medical staff and their computer systems, so they can be prepared and able to continue the process of caring for your injuries. This is where HL7 comes into the picture. HL7 is a set of standards for transferring clinical and administrative data between hospital information systems. It's like a language that describes you and your medical information to all the hospital information systems. And the best thing is, all the systems speak the same language. So when the HL7 message is received by the computer systems, it can be unpackaged and understood, and these applications in turn present your information to those that need it. HL7 is designed to work with every facet of your care, including specialized software.
Okay. So basically, what was this exactly about is consider if a patient reaches out to the hospital for any of the treatment, just like he is having some issues in his bones, so he wants to visit orthopedic. So what it is basically is like he just enters to the hospital, he fills out his form in the reception and whatever the details they have asked, so he just fills out that. So what happens they in if we talk about in the legacy system, so they usually create a file of that patient, and he has to carry everywhere wherever he goes, like he if we want to refer to one doctor which just do its medical checkup and later on refers to the specialist, so he have to carry the file, and every time the doctor has to read all the details which is written in the file. But when we talk about this HL7, so how this helps out in reducing these complexity is they just put down these information in the system, in one of the system, and wherever the patient goes, so they can electronically transfer using these standards, HL7 standards, to the other department, and so that it will automatically get populated in the GUI form of their fields, and they can just read out that one. It also helps us to encrypting the data, like if we want to because what happens, like these medical in the international standards, these medical and healthcare data is treated as very sensitive data, so they usually don't expose it in like that. They want to be very like sensitive with that one, so that's how they create the standard, and every machine in the medical system usually talk on the means uh, have a conversation on this standard only. Like if we are having a CT scan, so that can result out in the form of HL7 messages, and if you are having an MR scan, like that. So that is how this HL7 standard came into action, and that's the scope of taking out this HL7. Next thing is, in this standard we have multiple types of message, so few of them are listed here. Just like it is dependent on what are the activities is being performed. Like if it is related to, if a patient comes into the hospital, it is related to admit, discharge and transfer, so we usually prefer ADT. Similarly, if we have an order entry, like we want to do something related to, like just we want to have some medical equipments entry, so we can use ORM. As well as if we have, if a test is being taken place and we want to result that out, so we use ORU. Similarly, we have multiple types of messages in HL7. And moving forward, if we talk about a particular message, like right now we have considered ORU as a message. So you can see there are multiple segments as well as multiple sections of message. If we talk about the first one, that is message header. I'll just go back to the previous slide. There are multiple segments in the message structure. One is message header, where we are going to enter all the details which is related to that transaction. Like if there are two hospitals, one is TGI and another one is Fortis. So if we want to do a transaction between these two hospitals, so we'll do it in the message header. We'll place the date over there, like on which date this is being performed, the basic details about that patient, like it could be a unique identity of the patient. So these are the details we put in that message header. Next is PID. So how that patient is uniquely identified, its name, its address, everything is being placed in this segment. Next one is patient visit. So over here, we'll enter all the details whenever the patient has visited. OBR, for which test these like this is requested for, so we'll keep it in the OBR. Next is OBX segment. So there's one catch, you can see this is being placed under curly braces as well as the square bracket. So the square bracket represents the optional field, whereas without the square bracket, the all the fields are mandatory, that it should be there in the HL7 messages. Next thing, OBX, it could be multiple. Like for a single patient, there could be multiple tests and multiple observations on timely basis, or at the single time. Like if we consider our arm, we have a test of our arm, and there are multiple segments in a single arm. It could be fingers, it could be nails related to that. So we have multiple. Similarly, we have multiple observation segments in our messages. Similarly, we have CTI, clinical trial identification. This is also optional nature, and there could be multiple identifications. Moving forward, this is a sample message, which like we can see it, we have already seen it earlier. Message header. These are the details of message header. Next is PID, patient details. Similarly, observation and the CTI. Moving forward, Jatin will take it forward from here. How we sync our HL7 with the MuleSoft. Jatin, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Himanshu. So let me share my screen, then I can go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah. So as Himanshu already told that this is how an HL7 message looks like. So in Mule, how are we going to use this? Like what kind of integration do we have? What kind of connector do we have? So let's get to this thing. In MuleSoft, we have this dependencies. This is just a template dependency that we have. We don't have any version here. So when you open your Mule Studio, you can go to your POM and you can just directly import this dependency here. So I've already imported the dependency. The version is 4.2.9. So this is the latest version that Mule is offering to us. Um, so let's have a small proof of concept that how this read connector, like basically in HL7, we have two kinds of operations. So we can just read the HL7 message and just transform the message according to the need that we want. Like if we wanted to convert it into JSON, we can do that. So how are we going to do that, and what kind of connector configuration do we need to do? So I'm going to show that. So this is the connector that I've already drag down from my Mule palette. But you can just add by dependency, and you can just search directly here the HL7 EDI connector, which says read and write. You can just directly drag and drop this here in your studio. So I've already did that, so I'm not going to do it again. Uh, so yeah, you can see this EDI connector offers read and write both. So how are we going to do the connector configuration for that? So inside the read connector, when you'll open this, you will find we are having connector configuration option. You wanted to read the whole payload, so the payload will send the payload from the postman. In the connector configuration, when you will open the edit configuration that I've already edited. First of all, before we jump into the direct connector configuration and schemas, before that we just go to this writer. Inside this connector, we have already mentioned few things that shows in the message. So this thing, that this pipe represents the field separator. Likewise, we have all the tiddles, caret symbols. So it represents every other component that we are separating. So component separator shows that this caret symbol, let's suppose we are having a repetition separation character. So in the message, if we go and see a sample message from internet, you can just if you wanted to see any sample message, you can just go to internet, search any ORU or ORM messages and any ADT messages. That in the PPT also we have shown you earlier that we are having this much of messages, but right now we are just referring to ORU messages for an example. So observation result we are referring. So I've just googled this a sample ORU message. Inside this, I guess Himanshu have already explained you like the whole segment. So how we read this message actually, like starting from the MSH, which stands for message header patient ID, and you can refer this as well. So you don't have to cram it. I mean, it's not necessary to cram these things. People who are working in this field, they know pretty much, because they are like seeing these things on the daily basis. But you don't have to do it. You can just have it in a PDF or something. Just if you just wanted to see this message, you can just have this segment and just see that my MSS stands for message header, PID stands for patient ID, and you can just refer and read this message by your own. So for now, we can see that this message is ORU R01, and here is the pipeline separation. Here is the caret symbol, and whatever do we have, it's already given in the connector configuration that what kind of separations are there. So moving on to the connector configuration, let's suppose we are taking this message only as our example. So we can see it's ORU R01 message, and the below example is a version of 2.4 ORU R01 message. So we can just open our studio, and there are lots of schemas that are provided by HL7 connector inside the Mule4 studio that we have. You have to just open the schema option, and moving on to schema, you can see we are having two types of schemas starting from 2.1, and it's end there as a 2.8.1. Then it starts again with 2.1, but the major difference is lags. So I don't think by any chance you guys have worked on Mule for HL7 before, but if anyone have worked, can anyone tell me like what could be the possible difference between this the normal schema and the lag schema? Anyone from the call? I guess no one knows, so I'll take the silence as a no only. I'll tell. So whenever you pass an HL7 message, the sample message that I've already shown you, we can see this message again. So this HL7 message, when I'll show you again, so this message validates through these schemas, then it converts the message in your desired transformation that we wanted to do. So this normal schema that without lags will not validate. So let's open one of the schema. Let's suppose we are having 2.4 message. Inside 2.1 we are having all types of messages schemas. So we are using ORU. So we'll directly jump onto ORU here. Yeah, here. So yeah, so it validates through this schema, and then it transforms the message to the desired format that I already told you. So here you can see some fields are M. So M stands for mandatory and O stands for optional. So this schema, whenever you are passing your message through this schema, you have to pass this mandatory field that are written here inside the schema. So you can see like the items inside the ID reference entity, OBR observation data should be always mandatory. So whatever thing is written here as a mandatory, you need to pass that. But when you'll open the same thing in the lag schema, so you'll find a major difference that let me open that and then I'll show you. Inside the lags, you'll just open ORU. Yeah, so here every field is optional, so no validations is there. So in the Mule perspective, if you wanted to do any validations, you cannot be able to do. So in the UI, when you pass your message further, you can do the validations there. But let's suppose if you don't want to increase the time complexity of your page, you just want to just pass through the message that you are getting, and you can just transform this message through this schema, because all the fields are optional here. You can see nothing is mandatory. So this was the major difference between these two, the lag schema and the normal HL7 lags 2.4 and HL7 2.4 schema. So yeah, let's move on to the connector configuration that we have. So for now, we'll just use the lag schema because we have a sample message here with us. So we'll just copy this qualified path that we have, and we'll go to the connector, back to connector again. When we'll open this connector, we just have to go to if you are trying for the very first time, you just have to add a new configuration. I've already added this, so I'll just go to the edit configuration. I'll go to the document that I have. Then you just need to double click, or if you want to add one more, you can add that. So I already have, so I'll just copy paste this ORU schema and then I'll paste it here. So yeah, our connector configuration is done, and we can just test our HL7 message. And what we are doing in this POC, we are just converting our HL7 message that we are getting into JSON. So the payload we are getting, we are just simply converting it into JSON. In the logger, we are doing nothing, just printing out the payload that we have. So let's wait for the application to deploy so that we can test it.
Uh, Timing, Jatin. Anirudh has one question. Yeah, Anirudh, go ahead.
Yeah, can we make changes in the schema directly?
No, schemas are already being defined in the connector.
Yeah.
Like we have a leg schema and one with no legs. So can we just make all the fields optional in the no legs schema?
No,
Uh,
Anirudh. So what has happened, like there are BDAs outside and the healthcare domain, so they have defined these schemas based on the versioning and the message type we are using. So these schemas already being standardized. That's how that is why these are not like we cannot change that one.
Yeah, and the thing that you were saying that we make that optional. So obviously we cannot make that optional because for the optional field we already have the lag schema, so we don't need to make that even that thing optional. So what's the point of having a normal schema and a lag schema?
No, if I want some fields to be optional and some fields which are mandatory,
Uh,
I want them to be optional.
so
So
you
can I
have to
make
do
this?
your mapping accordingly. So you can do that, but not you cannot play with the schema.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If anyone here any question, then you can ask right now so that we can move. Our API is already deployed. We can test that and let's see the results. Till that, anyone have any question, they can raise their hand. We are happy to answer that. Yeah,
Yeah,
Dipankar.
Deepankar,
Yeah,
go ahead.
sure.
So one question, like in connector configuration, you added the schema, right?
Yeah,
So we can add multiple schemas in one configuration, or is it best practice to add only one?
we can have, but generally we do a single schema message transformation. So that's why we do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone there have any question, or should I start?
Here we are using FHIR, right? The one you mentioned.
No,
Yeah,
it's
Anirudh. No,
uh,
but HL7 is basically a standard which provides us FHIR to do the performance, like do the transformations using the REST APIs. So basically, we are using FHIR only.
exactly.
So do we mention it anywhere or it's just like predefined?
No, it's predefined only, like it's in the connector.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, Jatin, I think so. We can start
Yeah.
with that one.
So what we are gonna do now, we are gonna read the HL7 message and we are converted into JSON. So in the Postman, I've already created localhost slash test server. So I'll just send this ORU message that we have, and we'll try to convert this message in a JSON. So we can hit yours. You can see that we are getting a 200 success response, and you are converting this whole data to a JSON format. So lots of people are gonna think that what are these things and how we're going to do that. So this msh20 msh10, maybe lots of people are getting confused that what are these things. So here I have one thing. You can refer this site, and you can just break down your messages whatever you are getting. So let's suppose we are having an ORU message, so we can search your ORU message here. You don't have to cram these things. You can just, there are lots of things on internet, you can just refer those things and uh, take reference from there. So yeah, we'll open we are having this ORU message inside this msh is there. So you can just read about it. Like msh1 stands for field separator, then its data type is string data, and you can just see the, like, it's required or it's optional. So it's obviously required msh1, it's required, optional, required, optional. You can have this data types here. So you can refer this website to I'll also ping this website to all of you after this call. So yeah, you can refer these things, and not only the message address segments, you can just refer to the patient id, pid, visit, patient visit details, order, observation. So I hope this will help you. So moving further, we are having write connector as well in our API. So I have one quick question here for all of you. If we are reading this HL7 message and converting it to any format that we want, so anyone can answer. I mean, what would be write connector would be doing in this? Like, what could be the possibility, the thing that write connector could be doing?
Jason, can you move back to the API, to the
Yeah,
POC that you?
yeah.
Maybe it's just reading from the, yeah, maybe it's just reading the HL7.
Yeah, so the read connector is already reading that HL7 message and transforming it to JSON. So we are going to implement write next. So what could be the write connector could be doing? I mean,
It will convert that HL7 and write to some other file. Read from
so
particular friend.
I'll tell you. So whatever we are getting here, like in the JSON format we are getting, it will write that message again back to HL7 message that we have. But the thing is that you need to do the specific mapping for that. So just right now I've imported this write connector here, and I'll save the API again. So the connector configuration would already be done because we have a global element there, and it will already take this. So this is the very basic Mule. I'm not gonna go deep into this. So in this write connector, the connector configuration would be same there to lax version 2.4 and ORU message. So let's try hitting this API. I haven't stopped this. Yes, Kajal.
So I have one more question. Like right now, you are just sending one message in your API, and you are reading that message from HL7 connector. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So what if we have details of five patients? We need to send that. So how can we send that, and how we'll separate? Because if we use CSV file or something like that, so we're gonna use pipe separator our column. So that should be in the standard of your message also. So how gonna we separate that this message is like how gonna we handle five messages and all that?
So in every message, we'll have a unique patient ID, and
Exactly.
for this is specific to particular patient. Like the one message is for one patient only, and if we want to do the transaction of five patients, so we can in terms of MuleSoft, we can use any scope to do the traversing of each message at a time. Like if we have first patient, we can just use the first message, and for the second, we have the second one.
Okay, so you mean we can need to use that like HL7 connector not handle like five messages at a time?
No, it
Like
cannot handle. It will read one message at a time only.
Yeah.
okay, so it always we need to send in the text format always from like if we are
Yeah.
doing it from a postman, so it should be in text format always.
Right. Read connector always accepts in the plain text format, whereas write connector always accept in the JSON format.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, sorry, Java format, not JSON one.
Java, the
Java.
application slash Java.
Yeah.
So let's try hitting this HL7 message, and it will read and it will convert it into the JSON and back to JSON. Then it will write the message that we have, and let's see what could be the possible output that we got after using the write connector. So you can see this message header field is coming back with us, and the after that patient ID we are not getting any message. So that I already mentioned that we need to map the particular field to get it into the HL7 format again. And to break down this message, I'm going to show you one more interesting thing. There is a tool online available, HL7 inspector, and you can refer to HL7 soup is there, HL7 smart viewer is there. There are a hell lot of tools on the internet. You can refer any one of them, and just break down your message and see what you can just paste. I just pasted my message here, and you can just open every segment that we have, and you can just read about it, your whole message. You don't have to go here and just see like what could be its message stands for and all. You can just refer this website, and you can just directly copy paste your message, and after copy pasting it, you can just read about it that this, okay, this stands for message header. So msh, every time no one's going to tell you that what could msh be, and you will keep googling it, like what's msh and all. So you can just directly paste a whole of your message here, and you can just read about it. And it will also says that this symbol is a field separator, and also it will mention that in this message that it's required or optional, or it can be both. So yeah, in the PID you can open, and you can see like it can be patient ID, CR3 stands for patient identification list, patient the name, patient alias. But it's just a sample message, so it won't be that accurate. So you need to find a real message that could be maybe provided by your client, and an actual message you can get it from somewhere else, and you can refer those message. So yeah, this was just a small thing in the Mule 4 that we have, and you can have multiple different types of integration as it depends on your customer, that what kind of customers do we have, what kind of messages and transformations we are doing. It can be ADT messages. It's not just about ORU and ORM and any other messages. It can be any one of these messages you want to do. Yep. So this was it from my side. Himanshu, if you have something, you can say.
No, that's all from my side. Anyone have any questions, so they can come up with that? Okay, we'll take it as no. So
Yeah.
this is the end of our session. Thank you so much for joining the session.
I hope it helped you, like knowing a bit about HL7 connector. It's quite unique connector. No one talks about it in a Mule 4 because it's a standard. It's not only in the Mule. It's been used worldwide. So yeah, if you know about these things, it might help you in future, and you can refer these things.
And if you encounter this connector and you face an issue, you can reach out to us anytime. We'll help you
Yeah.
out.
I'm sorry, can I add in something?